Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I read that there's going to be a particularly chunky update coming to Wizard of Legend 2 soon that I'm looking forward to showing off. In the meantime, there are still Arcana that I want to do a spotlight on here. Like I said, Wizard of Legend 1 isn't going away. Matter of fact, it seems more likely that Wizard of Legend 2 is kind of the one that I'm not paying a lot of attention to. Though, to be fair, whoops, wrong button. We know that game is going to be in early access for a while, so it's not like I'm ignoring it, it's that I'm trying to slow my roll on it so I don't exhaust all the possibilities in that game, because I know by the time 1.0 comes out, there will be new maps, new Arcana, new relics, new enemies. Like, it's very obvious that this version of the game that we have, I mean Wizard of Legend 2, which I'm not playing right now, is still being worked on. So take that for what it's worth. Again, I'm not ignoring it. Just working on other things. Speaking of which, today's Arcana is going to be Calming Flow. Now, this is an Arcana where you enter a calming state where every last hit of your basic Arcana lowers all cooldowns. Which means that it's going to be cooling down your dash, your signature, and whatever the other two standards you pick up are. Because obviously your basic doesn't have a cooldown. So, let's quick test this out. Let's pick something like, I don't know, Gust Volley. Simple and stable. Let's put on an Arcana or a robe that doesn't. Alright, so we've got, what is that, 5.2 second cooldown? Okay, this removes a chunk of cooldowns. Let's see that again. Yeah, no, this is a big cooldown reduction machine here. One more time. Yeah, it basically just destroys the cooldown meter. So this is something that will allow us to rapidly use just about whatever we want, so long as we use it with the right basic. So the question is, what is the right basic? Now, in my mind, this seems like, just like when you're using Lightning Aspect, you want to use this with something that'll be done quick, like Earth Knuckles. Basically, Earth Knuckles and Bolt Rail will be the two best ones. Yeah, I think that is going to be just beautiful. Now, one other thing I want to test is if I use this with Aqua Beam, something that's multi-use, how does that work? Okay, I get like almost 3 charges of Aqua Beam back with every big fist. Okay, this is impactful. So, how about we do this? Why don't we go for Distortion Beam? For this, we're going to take Razor Burst. I want to start with, probably surprising no one, we're going to do that. Partially because of the run speed. And then for this, we're going to start with Claws of Tomo. Yeah, I think this is going to be a very good setup for this particular spell. The other thing I could do is I could try running it with Bolt Rail, which, again, I think is like that. See, if I run Bolt Rail, the recovery to Oh, hold on. So... So it's not as instantaneous as punching, but Bolt Rail on the whole is just a better spell to begin with. And that lets me take something different, like... Oh, I don't know. Why don't I take... Kuni Boy Mask. That'll work. And lastly... Alright, so we just rolled classic soundtrack again. So hopefully you guys aren't too upset with listening to Dale North's original compositions. Oh yeah. Okay, I see how Calming Flow works, and part of what I'm really digging about this is that it allows some very interesting combo shenanigans. The part that I'm not digging about it is that it takes up your standard slot to do that when you could just... I mean, it's going to take up a resource to boost your cooldowns one way or another. You're either using the Tempo Robe, or you're using a relic slot for one of the two pendulums, or the Curse Eater's Watch. Like, you're using some sort of resource. Arcana slot, robe, or relic. So it's just a matter of what resource do you want to use. And actually, I have a different idea. Because this is going to end up being a very... Okay, I don't know if I actually want to run Demi's Teapot, just because looking at it, it doesn't reduce the cooldown of Calming Flow at all. It makes the spell last longer, but what I was hoping for is that after you use it, it would just go on cooldown, and it would just stay going on cooldown while the buff was active, but that is not the case, so I'm sticking with my original plan. Now, we just need the retro floor plan to show up. Because that is how I enjoy my runs. Hard as a rock. I bet he enjoys other things hard as a rock. Yeah, like rocks. Were you guys thinking of something else? Come on now. Let's not be immature today. If there is anything that I wanted you guys to be today, it would be to be happy, to be healthy, and to just be able to enjoy yourselves. The world is becoming a stranger and stranger place, so hopefully we can still find time for ourselves, find time to be happy, and just continue being ourselves in a world that increasingly just seems like it's not for anybody. And don't worry, I'm not going to get into talking about any of the crazy crap that's been happening. I'm not going to start talking politics, and even though there is something very newsworthy to talk about, that's not what this channel is for. Alright, let's grab our starting gold, and let's roll. Oh, of course. Alright, well... Ooh, immediately we got a good defensive relic, thank goodness. And there's Demi's Teapot. I might end up grabbing that after all. I'm not 100% sure about that. There, we've got ourselves a lovely laser beam combo here. Okay, I screwed up pretty bad in that room. Do I want the bubbles? I mean, usually I like having the bubbles, so there's no reason why I wouldn't take it now. Sorry, I'm now really thinking about, wow, I screwed that room up so bad. Alright, I think I go up here. Come on. Alright, so one of the problems that I'm noticing with my current setup, I don't know if this is true of every Calming Flow setup, is that by the time I get a charge back on my Distortion Beam, I have a signature cast ready to go, and it just makes the whole thing feel kind of moot. Ice Sword! Alright, give me that, because I think I know how I want to do this. And yes, I'll grab the bubbles. Also, what does this do when it's upgraded? Immediately lowers cooldowns on use. Okay, well that's very clearly what you want for this spell. Alright, so my thought with this setup... Well, first of all, you definitely want a basic that you can get to the final hit of very quickly, which is why I was thinking Earth Knuckles or Bolt Rail. But the other thing that makes a lot of sense for its use is just throw it up before you start a fight. And the idea that it lets you put on more pressure than usual is pretty effective. Alright, no shade. There's definitely something to be said for the increased pressure you can put on an enemy group while you're essentially getting your cooldowns cut. But as I had brought up just a moment ago, it is a little odd that you know, by the time you get to use it effectively, you've already got a signature cast, so it feels like it's kind of being wasted. Alright, well there's the Calming Flow upgrade. I am going to wait to pick it up, though, because I have the feeling that I'm going to want to wait until I've at least found the red portal to know whether or not I'm going to want to trade it in. I guess we get to donate our Calming Flow to the good doctor so she can continue to make medicines. then, you know, we should do that. Oh, hey, what do you know? Oh, nice. Alright. See? Worth it. Just a little bit of patience goes a long way. Alright. Alright, let's check to see if there's anything else I want here. Ugh. Let's grab it, just in case I can make use of it. I am liking that, you know, with proper use, Calming Flow lets you kind of ball out. Like, just throw out a bunch of spells, and then Calming Flow will help you get them back to use again. It's nice. It's hard to use, but it's nice. But one of the gripe, well, and it's the same gripe that I've had, it's that by the time you really get any of your spells back, a lot of the enemies seem to either be dead or you've got a signature coming up. Like, I don't know if that's just because of the way that I'm using it, or if that's just been a consistent problem with this ability. Like, those of you that have experimented a lot with this, with the different Arcana in the game, is this just kind of how Calming Flow goes, or am I using it wrong? Like, it almost feels like this is something that should be being used on regular difficulty instead of Retro Floor Plan. I'm also noticing that in order to make really good use of Calming Flow, you ironically need to already have some cooldown reduction because of how long its own cooldown is, so... The irony of how this spell is working is not lost on me at all. Hold on. Pardon me. But part of the reason why we do these Spotlight series isn't so that we can necessarily show off everything that's super powerful. It's because, hey, you want to see how something works to begin with. That's why I do these. And as far as Calming Flow is concerned, I can see the appeal. Now, it seems like the other optimal way to really use Calming Flow is to use signatures that aren't that powerful. Something that you want to use multiple times, but aren't like necessarily like face-stomping monsters by themselves. And the first thing I think of when I think that is Dragon Surge. And it's like, okay, it's another way to break Dragon Surge, sure, but I mean, does that really? Like, it seems like the better way to break Dragon Surge would just be to have a lot of, not necessarily cooldown reduction, but a lot of signature charge. That seems like the way that you should be trying to break that one. So, guys, this leaves me in the position of what do we do with Calming Flow? Laser. Ow. So the other good use for it that I'm thinking of is that it seems to be really good for breaking Dash Arcana, because if you can get your Dash Arcana back frequently enough, that... Like, I can see the appeal. I definitely can. But it just seems like the best way to use this one has nothing to do with what I'm trying to do. Because what I'm trying to do could be accomplished with just, you know, really high damage. I don't know, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just using it wrong. Or maybe this is one of those odd cases where there just is no right way to use it. It's like, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? It's like, if you're just using your tongue has better uses. I think Dark Sage is feeling a little thirsty today. I mean, I haven't had enough water, so I mean, you might have a point. Yeah. Nothing here is really standing out. I guess Calming Flow would also work really well with Riptide, since Riptide only has one attack in its chain. So that's another good way to use it. And it's honestly not a bad way to use it, considering that Riptide is particularly good for more defensive setups. Balloon kind of stinks, but I'll pick it up anyway. Alright, not bad. Surfboard. Surfing USA. Yeah, eat laser. Oh, hey, there's enemies up there. Alright, well, let's throw out the bubbles, put on the calming flow, and see if I can make this work. Where the fuck did you come from? Holy shit! Yeah, maybe I do need to schedule an eye exam. Alright, well, if we find the wand, that'll definitely be useful. And if we find the adorable mimic, I know I've got multiple freebies that I can feed to it. Yeah, set up the bubble trap. Yeah, I'm good, actually. I like what I have. Man, we got neither of the things that I thought I was going to find. Alright, well. Let's drop the hat and pick up the sword. Ooh, an unbirthday present. You know how much I love these. Huh? Okay, Mercury Sandals definitely turned out to be worth it, so I could cancel out the penalty for using the anchor. Ooh, and rocket ship. Man, I'm finding all the good stuff. I think I'm going to stick with what I have, though. I'm not exactly having trouble building signatures, so no big deal there. Owie! Like, it almost feels like if they were to lower the amount of cooldown you get back from the last hit of your your basic, and put it on a relic, that almost seems like that would work out better. I'm going to end up being surprised if that's exactly what they did in Wizard of Legend 2, and I just haven't found that particular relic yet. Alright, so I'm trying to think. If I'm happy with my relics, and the spells aren't interesting me, the only thing I'm really looking for is Red Portal, and hoping that it's Nox, so I can continue to build upon the supremacy of my Cursed Relic Empire. And it's not, but that's also not a bad find. Let's just move on. I really like what I have right now, and I don't feel like running around and potentially getting sniped by an Earth Knight with a Toxic Bola and then losing all my progress. So, no thank you, fuck that. Oh, apparently Calming Flow also does damage when it's upgraded. I wasn't aware of that. Alright, well that's on me for just being silly and not realizing it. Alright, well, now that we're at the end of the run, I will say, did I have fun with this? Absolutely. This is a strong, fun run that I really enjoyed the chance to use. Now, do I think Calming Flow was the centerpiece of it that made it all come together? You already know the answer to that question. Like, I've tried to tap dance around it a little bit here, but the frank fact of the matter is that Calming Flow just isn't very good. As much as I really appreciate the chance to really play around with it and see what I can do with it, it just isn't very... It isn't really all that... It's nothing that you can really abuse in a build. Smooth. Really, game? But the one surprise that I did find is once you get it upgraded, you can actually use the initial burst of water as an attack. Oh, thumbnail shot. Yeah! Okay. So, my take on Calming Flow is that the idea is sound. It's taking the idea of a buff that boosts your basic Arcana to do something that it doesn't normally do, and really trying hard to make it work into some design space that wasn't already there. And I applaud the effort, but in execution, not so good. Like, there's just way better ways to build yourself for getting signature charge and better cooldowns, like up to and including the Tempo Robe or the Fury Robe for signature charge. even just starting with one of the pendulum items or the Curse Eater's Watch seems like it's a better thing to do. Like, again, I think the idea of entering that Zen state and calming flow is really cool, but the execution is what I'm questioning. Like, it just seems like the execution was way off. Like, there's just too many little things wrong with it that I kind of went over during the video, but quick recap, it has too long of a cooldown time to really make use of, and, you know, when you are using it optimally, the thing that you're recharging or refreshing the cooldown on either A, isn't really necessary, or B, you have a signature at that point, at which point, why did you even bother with cooldown reduction? You can just recast your spell in its signature state. I don't know. This one feels like it has potential, but the game's own design gets in its way. But that's my thought. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I, of course, appreciate you guys coming and spending some of your free time here with me today. It really does mean a lot to me. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and you take care, everybody.